How's everybody doing? Okay, I'm gonna probably just put on something to watch. I don't know how much I'm gonna chat today. I uh I didn't know when I was gonna do it. Holy shit. But I went down the stairs to put the water softener. There was still some, I think the water was pretty clear, but there were still some water softener tablets in there. They were up on the shelf. Well, I put those in and I dumped the bag in, and then I don't know, probably the end of the month, definitely the beginning of next month, I'll go get another. Instead of getting the big 40-pound bags, I got a 25-pound bag. And it really wasn't that bad to handle. I don't know for sure what it was because it was only temporary. I had this happen over the weekend too, either Saturday morning or Sunday morning. I don't know what I did in the sleep. Maybe the aliens came and arrested me and I had to finger bang some alien or some other abductee. I don't know. But I woke up and my middle finger on my left hand was sore. The knuckles were sore. Like the whole thing from like the second knuckle to the tip was sore. It hurt when I moved it. It hurt when I used it. After about an hour or two, I didn't put ice on it. I didn't take any aspirin or anything. After like an hour or two, and it feels okay today, but after like an hour or two, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't even a little bit tender, but waking up, it was like, what the fuck? Well, today, I put my shoes on because the slippers have been doing a good job. They really have. So I don't know if I did something in my sleep or not, but my slippers have been fine. My foot has not hurt at all. Didn't hurt this morning when I got up, but I put my shoes on, put socks on, put the shoes on, tightened them up, and every now and then I'd get a little flash of pain in my right foot. That's the ankle I broke. But it was in the foot. It wasn't in the ankle. It was, God, in between the arch of the foot and the heel on the outside. And I don't understand it. But by the time I got around I didn't put my shoes on until I was getting ready. I started my laundry and I was being real careful to go downstairs. Well, once I went downstairs, I didn't notice it. It was only when I was walking around right after I put the shoe on. So I have no idea. But going up and maybe I shouldn't have done the laundry today. Because until the laundry gets done, I cannot go lay down on the bed. So I hope I don't need to fucking lay down before I get that done. And then, I got that in there, so we actually have water softener salt in again. And then if I can do it today, I should be able to do it in the future. And we got that done. And oh, sweet. Um, and what I'm doing is I'm just gonna get as much done as I can until it's time to feed the cats. And it's like 9:30 now. Uh, it's like 9:30 now, so I don't know how much I'm gonna get done. Cause usually like sometimes it's even like any time after now is when the one cat will start bugging me for lunch. Lunch isn't until technically 11. I usually feed her around 11:30 because most days, not every day, but most days, I want to eat something by 10:30. So I'm waking up at like 4:30 or earlier and staying up most days. Maybe not every day, but a lot of days I'm staying up. And I'm not gonna do that. If I'm gonna, oh, this is the key warden. wasn't planning on going to the store today, but even if I was, I'd have canceled it because it's raining. This is the other thing. If it starts storming real bad, I'll probably get off. At least get off of the PlayStation. I'm kind of at mixed feelings about it because if it takes out my console, it's probably going to take out the internet. And if the internet quits working, I'm not going to be able to do anything anyways because and like the way things are, I used to go up, especially after I think hopefully I've got it protected enough. But oh yeah, so that brings the call to action I got going on right now, and there was a thing on Threads. Somebody had shared it. I forget. It was one of the Republican states. It was one of those little Republican hellholes. It's run by fucking MAGA. You know, fucking run by MAGA, supports MAGA, doesn't support working people, and they're literally throwing people out of the hospital. Cause see, some of those states, they just kicked a whole bunch of poor people off of Medicare, and you know, I think they're actually celebrating in Congress. Life from Hell, Arcane. Yeah, nope. And you know, whoever shared it, I just told, and this kind of goes with what I'm saying. It's like I kind of asked her and her followers, you know, I responded, I go, see, this here is why I'm asking for everybody that sees this to write your elected officials, local and state and federal, and ask them to get assisted suicide legalized. And I told him, I go, I can't work anymore. And I said, even if I do end up getting on SSDI, which I go is by no means a certainty. It really isn't. And but I go, even if I get on it,
new things for you to
you know, I mentioned I watched my mom die. I watched my mom die in hospice, and I want to be clear. The people that were doing the hospice, the nurses and the other care providers, they were excellent. I am not trying to badmouth them. I think they did the best they can do with existing laws. But it was not fun watching what she went through. It wasn't. Now, if that's what she wanted to do, fine, I'd have done it. But I really don't know. I know when she was given a choice of hospice or health care, she took the hospice. She did not want to go through chemo to give herself a couple. She want to go through anything to get a couple more months and then die anyways. You know, and this is the thing. I don't know for sure, but I am reasonably sure that if they would have told her there was a chance, she'd have taken the chemo. Because that's what she was talking to us about. She was going to do the chemo, she was going to go through the surgery and see if she could be with us for a little bit longer. Well, when they told her that you know, that it was inoperable, so they could still do the chemo and buy her some time, she was not interested in the slightest. Just it didn't interest her. She was willing to fight if it meant she might be able to live longer, but if all it was going to do was give her a couple more months. But I honestly cannot sit there and tell you, if she would have been willing to take, you know, a Dr. Kevorkian method. If it had been, my dad definitely would have. Because when he started getting sick, now granted, he had Alzheimer's, but when he got it, he had moments where he was clear, and he always talked about going out in the field with a shotgun. And I don't know, you know, when I look at what he was like going through it, I don't know if it would have been better for him to do that, but I think it would have been better for my mom. She put up with a lot of shit.
Your flaws are revealed.
She really did. It was, you know, and if he was willing to go through it, would have been better for her. I mean, it would have been better for her on, well, she would have really hated it, you know, if he'd have checked out early. I think on some level she enjoyed every minute she had with him, and then on other levels, you know, because I made her the comment the one time, and this is after we'd gotten him in to see, God, I can't think of the it might have been an endocrinologist. It's basically the one that deals with old people shit. We got him in to see one of them, and they finally treated him. The doctors he had, and you know, the doctor he had was not a bad doctor. He was afraid of that fucking hip, and they weren't fucking treating him. You know, I was getting on him because I'm like, and he's like, well, I can't talk to you because of HIPAA and blah 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 blah. And I go, you don't have to talk to me. All you gotta do is fucking listen. I go, you got a patient and you need to fucking treat him. Well, I went to go see my doctor, and you know, my doctor wanted to talk to me about going to see a psychiatrist, and I fucking went off. I go, wait a minute. I go, why are you talking to me about seeing a head shrink? And he goes, well, doctor, you know, this, you know, it was my dad's doctor. And I go, that son of a bitch. I go, he's been refusing to treat my dad's Alzheimer's. He's not doing nothing. I go, my dad's fucking throwing shit at my mom. I went off, and my doctor's like, never mind, sorry I brought it up. But I went and I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the hospital, because this was the thing. His fucking nurse was just as bad, because we got in to see the good doctor for this. For everything else, that was a good doctor. But we got in to see that doctor. Well, he put my dad on 2 or 3 new medications. And he was instantly, like within a couple weeks, he was better. And then what was funny, this was the beautiful part, like when I had to leave Wisconsin and go work in Indiana, some of the stuff he was on, it was making him drowsy. Well, you know, hey, better drowsy than hurling shit at my mom's fucking head, you know? And so what happened was, and this is the thing, when other people were dealing with shit, I generally didn't fuck with them too much. I'd make a comment, as long as I wouldn't have to deal with it, you know? And what happened was, I found out that they were talking to the doctor, and they were going to basically cut. Here's the thing, you know, when he put him on the doctor told me, they go, well, usually when we put him on this, if you have to take him off of it, they fade pretty quick. So they, you know, it wasn't an option for them to take him off of it, which they would have done. I'm sure he told them the same thing. He's like, well, if we take him off this now, it's probably going to kill him. You know, he's on this now, and, you know, he goes, this was made clear when we put him on it. Well, they cut it in half. They cut it in half, and I just told them, I go, that's the stuff that's keeping him from being violent. And I told him, I go, you guys do what you want, but I go, it's a dumb idea. And I just let him, because I wasn't here. I only came up to visit. I wasn't here all the time. Oh, shit. I don't know how long it took, but as soon as it was out of his system, and it took like a couple weeks to build up when he was on it. It was going to take a couple weeks for him to get off of it. Well, as soon as that came down, he was getting violent. He was getting argument. And, you know, and I always looked at it this way. I go, I'm tired of arguing with people that don't want to fucking listen. You know, they'll either figure it out and put him back on it, or maybe one or both of them will end up dead. You know, I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was just trying to be honest. It's like, look, at a certain point, you know, you're telling people the way things are. They can either listen to you or they can deal with the bullshit. And, you know, his bullshit was pretty severe, which is why we got him in to put him on this stuff in the first place. But that's the thing. This was a weakness of my mom and my sister. I can't really begin to tell you what, but she was always really good when I was younger, and maybe she's got something wrong with her, but she's turned into a fucking idiot now that she's older on a lot of things. Maybe not everything, but a lot of things. I'm actually surprised she isn't voting for Trump, as fucked up as she is. And that's actually saying something. But, oh my God, though. But my mom, you know, it's like, this is the way she was. Like, there was a point where, you know, I was worried about how he was acting. And I made a comment. I go, well, we gotta get the guns out of here the way he's acting. She goes, oh, there's no ammo for the guns. So I just sort of dropped it. Well, then the one day he was running around taking a shot at a stray cat, and this was the worst part of it. It was my mom's fault. She was feeding these stray cats. So I don't know if it was more than one, but it was at least a stray cat. And she was feeding it, and she knew the cat would nip you while you fed it. So she always wore gloves. Well, she lets my fucking niece go do it. My niece was just a kid. She was either in grade school or junior high. I don't even think she was high school age. She was letting my niece do it, never told her about the gloves or nothing. Well, as soon as she got bit by this cat, my dad's fucking chasing her around with the shotgun trying to kill it. And I basically told her, I go, okay, I go, you fucking lied to me. I go, you said there was no ammo for the guns here. She goes, well, I didn't think there was. I go, well, that's okay. I go, we got two choices. We're either gonna put trigger locks on everything, or the fucking guns are going. And then she wanted to play this dumb fuck routine, which she was famous for. Like, and it was the same thing with the medication. Instead of doing the smart thing and leaving that medication on, so he wasn't, because she was the one that he was throwing shit at. Now the gun, I didn't want to get shot because they wanted me staying there. And I didn't. I was like, I'm not going to get shot coming in the house at 2 in the morning after work because she wants to be a dumb fuck. That's just not happening, And I finally told her, I go, look, you're either going to give me the money to go get the fucking trigger locks, or the guns are just going to vanish. And I go, I don't really give a fuck. I go, I'll put them in the trunk. I go, I don't care if I don't know if they're going to go to the dumpster or somewhere else, but I go, you're either going to give me the money to get some trigger locks, or the guns are just going to be gone. I don't really. And then she's like, well, you have to stop pushing me. I go, Mom, I'm off the dumb fuck train. You either fucking get going, or I'm going to run right over you, because I go, I am not getting shot because you want to act like this. I'm just not. And then, but see, that was the way she was, and it was from dealing with his stress. It's the way she was from dealing, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. On some level, if he would have checked out early, I think she'd felt a lot of relief, but I think she'd have felt bad that he was gone. But she was the one dealing with it. We finally got her in to see the same doctor my dad was, and he figured out that she didn't have anything wrong, but he put her on like a anti-anxiety medicine or something like that. And I actually had my old mom back as soon as she got on that medication.
I'm returning to town.
I had my old mom back, but she was acting as fucking goofy as he was on some shit. Well, when we got in to see that doctor, he basically asked my mom if she needed to get in touch with the social worker or some other people to help her, like get his name off the bank accounts. Because that was another thing that he had done. This is before we got him in to get treated. And like I said, he had his good moments and he had a few bad moments. But he went in and took a bunch of money out of one of the bank accounts. This is when my mom started asking me to fucking help out with some of this shit.
My burden.
He took some money out of the bank. It was around like $80,000 or $100,000, and he invested it in the stock market because what happened was, and I am positive that I must already have that one because it's not showing up here. Yeah, so I can get rid of that one then. But I am pretty sure the guy at the brokerage house told him, hey, here's what it is. And it's, if you follow, and I didn't know anything about this. I had to learn. When she asked me to fucking help out with their stocks and so I didn't know anything about it. I understood mutual funds fairly well. I did not know a shit about stock. Well, I started watching Mad Money and some of the other stuff, and what they did, I found out later, was Jim Cramer. God, he had a name for it, but what you did is you would you'd buy like 5 risky stocks,
but few succeeded in
And then what you would do is you had to spend an hour a week. Now again, the brokerage wasn't doing this. They were keeping track of it. And I gotta tell you, if they did not appear to be doing it the same way Kramer recommended. That might have been where they got the idea, I don't know. But they weren't putting the due diligence in. I think they called it a Target 5 thing or something like that. I'm having a good day, so I don't know how long it's gonna last, but you buy these 5 risky stocks, and you needed to research them. You needed to research them real good before you got in. Well, again, your broker house is doing that for you. And then what you do is you had to spend an hour a week on each one of them. And then what you did was, the honest hope was that 2 of them, no more than 2 of them would fail. 2 of them would break even roughly, and then you'd have 1 of the 5 would actually make the other 4 worthwhile. And that's the way Kramer recommended it. And And like with Kramer, you didn't sell them until the time was right. He was the Juan Valdez of stock trades. You know, you sell no stock, you buy no stock, you sell no stock before it's time. Well, what happened was these guys would sell all 5 of them every 6 months and then buy 5 new ones. And that made no sense because it's like these projected timelines. The military will say, yeah, those are bad. When whether Democrats or Republicans, they always tell you, well, yeah, when you're in a bad country and and you can't trust them, you never issue a timeline. You never issue a timeline because what they'll do is the bad people will just calm down and they'll wait till you leave, and then the day after you leave, and that's kind of what happened. Donald Trump gave the Taliban a timeline. And what they did is they waited until we started to leave, and then they just basically started killing people. Because in that case, it was the Republicans, not a Democrat, that gave them a time to leave. And that's what they did. Like, oh, every 6 months we're just going to sell them and buy some new stock. Well, okay, well, what if you'd have sold it 1 day earlier before something tanked? What if you'd have sold it 1 day later after one of them shot up? There really wasn't a lot of good thought in that from listening to Kramer in his opinion, like the way he would tell you to do it. And but he got in there, well, shit, and I'm not, other than getting into the damn thing, I'm not sure he did anything wrong. Now maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding is he got in it and they lost him like roughly 80% of the money. It was just, gone. And, well, then he was mad at them. And I don't know, I wasn't there, but I got a sneaking suspicion that they told him exactly what was going on. And all he heard was money, 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 money. And then he, because he did the same thing with he had Harley stocks. He just, Harley this, Harley that, Harley. And what he would do is he kept, and I didn't, again, this is before I knew anything about stocks. I understood mutual funds because I was invested in them. I learned about that when I got into it. And, he
break beneath the endless tide.
But he was always telling me, Harley doubled. And it got to be like, it was like every fucking month he was telling me Harley was doubling. And I'm like, look, I don't know that much about stocks, but I know that can't be fucking true. And then when I finally got involved, because I'm thinking, my God, you know, if Harleys kept doubling, you know, you wouldn't be able to buy them because everybody else would be doing it, you know. And but what it was, every time he got a thing on dividends, because what they did is like every month or every 3 months they would usually pay a small dividend. Well, he got it in his head that was doubling the stock. And I'm like, I finally told him, I go, look, I'm not entirely sure, but I go, that stocks don't work like that. He go, oh yeah, I got to pay. He waved at him. I go, you know, whatever, Dad. But I'm telling you flat out, shit don't work like that. And that might not have been the Alzheimer's. That might have just been the dumb hick who never fucking graduated. I mean, he was a smart guy. He was crafty and clever, but he never graduated high school. I don't know what year he ended, but I honestly don't know if that was the Alzheimer's or just his lack of education. But it's like, yeah, shit doesn't work that way. But he did. He got it in his head, you know, that, you know, every time he got a piece of paper saying he got, like, you know, $50 in dividends. Oh, it doubled. And I'm like, you know, and then he goes, well, yeah, it's doubling and it's doubling. I go, well, I go, you're calling it doubling, and I go, what you're talking about is a stock split. And I go, true doubles are rare. I go, but when they split, doubles are rare. It's more likely you're getting like 2 to 3 split or something like that, you know, where you're getting like a minor bump. But I told him, I go, this doesn't happen like every couple months. It just doesn't. Not unless it's like a new stock. And not if you know, because my thing is, I'm like, look, I'm not entirely sure, but if it was really doubling all the time like that, that would be an indication you probably want to get your money out of it, because with an old stock like that, if it's literally doubling like that and there's no logical reason, like they just, you know, they didn't invent a fucking warp drive or an impulse drive and they're putting them on all their fucking motorcycles or something like that, there's probably something illegal going on, and the SEC is going to take a giant shit on them and anybody that owns their stocks. So, you know, and again, I didn't know stocks, but I knew that much. And, but I had to learn about that. And, so, you know, the doctor was like, you know, really trying to help her out. He's like, well, you know, do you need to get a hold of him? I can get you a hold of social workers, and that'll help you get his name. Well, then she goes to my dad's main doctor, his primary care provider's doctor's nurse. And she's telling him, oh, we got him in to see this doctor. And I mean, she's the one who's getting shit thrown at her head. This I'm saying, you know, when they got her on that one medication, I actually got my old mom back. It was not this fucking moron that I'd been watching. You know, and again, she was under stress. It was completely understandable. But, you know, a spade's a spade. I mean, it is what it is. You know, she was acting fucking stupid, kind of like members of the family are doing now. And, but, you know, I heard her on the phone. She was telling this nurse, oh my God, he was gonna get his license take away, and that already happened. And he said he was gonna come to the house and take his name off the fucking bank accounts and checkbook and stuff. And I'm like, well, one, that's not what he fucking said. He was gonna put you in touch with a government worker who could help you with that. You know, that's all it was. And this fucking idiot of a fucking nurse was sitting there going on to my mom, well, I can't believe he'd do that. That just sounds awful, blah, blah, blah. And fueling the fire. I mean, literally fueling the fire. And then they pulled that shit where they were trying to get me to go see a fucking head shrink. And I did. I wrote the hospital or the clinic or whatever it is, and I go, I'm really sorry, but I go, you need to have a talk with this doctor. I go, he's been refusing to treat my dad for well over a year now. And I go, he's got Alzheimer's, and he's refusing to do his fucking job. I go, I'm like, he's throwing shit at my mom. I go, my mom is a fucking basket case. And I go, they're not doing anything to help her out, but I go, I don't know if she's got Alzheimer's, but I go, he's finally gotten into a fucking doctor at Mercy that's treating him. And I go, and then he's basically trying to get me sent to a psychiatrist to cover up the fact that he won't do his fucking job. And I go, and then his nurse is sitting there fucking going to my mom, fueling the whole thing, like, oh my God, I can't believe that doctor would get his driver's license taken away, and oh man, I can't believe that doctor would come to your house and fucking take his name off of the fucking bank accounts. I mean, Jesus Christ, I go, how fucking stupid is she? The doctor cannot come to the house and legally take stuff off. You have to do it at the bank. You know, and she, instead of telling her, hey, look, you know, I'm sure that doctor's credible, and I'm sure you just don't understand what's going on. I'm sure your son's trying to help. I go, instead of doing that, he goes, she's just feeding the. I go, she needs to get out of medicine and just go work full time at that clinic she works at night, where she walks around and counts hard-ons, because she worked at some kind of a sleep deprivation clinic. And I didn't really think about it until later, but I think it was less than 6 months later that doctor retired. But I did. I fucking went off, because it's like, oh my God, I just, you know, it's like I'm trying to help somebody here, and if you don't want to help, that's fine, but you need to get the fuck out of the way. And like him retiring, you know, he was not a bad guy. He was a good doctor, but I think there's probably a lot of his patients that were better off. Because whatever it is, that HIPAA law scared the shit out of him. And that's the thing. If you can't do your job because you're afraid of the new laws, if you can't figure out how to coexist with them, then yeah, it's probably time for you to fucking retire. But fucking hey.
A vicious strike.
Somebody's in here. I gotta see what time it is. I'm not watching anything, so the tablet shut off. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna. But yeah, so if you could just write your elected officials and just ask them. I mean, if you don't feel like it, that's not your thing, you know, we can still be friends. I don't consider that a deal breaker. I really don't. But I'd really like you to consider it, because somebody posted a story, and I don't know what Republican hellhole it was, but they were literally throwing people out of the hospital on the street. And it's probably one of those Republican hellholes where they just kick like a couple 100,000 people off of fucking Medicare. And these people were probably in there for long-term health care. And you gotta think, there was one of these Republican hellholes. Now, this was back when I was still in Indiana. They passed a law, because like usually what happens is, like, at least in my state, or at least it was before we elected these fucking dipshit Republicans. It used to be in this state. I honestly don't know if it still is or not. But whether you could pay or not, the hospitals had to treat you for life-saving things. They had to stabilize you in that. So if you went in, well, there was one of these states, because they used to have laws like that for the fire department. Whether you owed taxes, whether you were paying taxes, etc. and so on. If there was a fire, they had to show up. You know, they had to show up and they had to put your fire out. Well, what they did was they passed a law where, you know, fire service, I'm not making this up, I really wish I was. Fire service was no longer guaranteed. And you had to pay like a monthly fee for the fire department to come and rescue you. And what happened was, this guy was not protesting. He was an old guy, and he forgot. Because it was a stupid fucking thing the Republicans did. Well, he forgot. Well, his house caught on fire. And, you know, and really the way Republicans are nowadays, back then I don't think anybody thought of it, but nowadays you'd almost have to ask, did they go set his house on fire? But his house set on fire, and the fire department showed up. They drove the truck right there, and they watched his house burn. And, you know, because they showed up, and he goes, oh, good, thank God you're here. They go, oh, well, you didn't, you know, and the thing is, why'd they even show up? They showed up, and they said, oh, we can't put your fire out because you never paid your monthly fee. And he goes, oh, my God, I forgot. I got my checkbook right here. I'll pay. And they go, sorry, that might be good tomorrow, but it's not good today. And, you know, kind of like, you know, the way insurance companies are. And this, I think, is a whole different can of worms. But your insurance companies, like, if you don't have insurance and something fucks up, well, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. But that's the way they treat. That was a real story. I'm not making that up. I really wish I was. Well, I'm kind of wondering if that's what it was. You know, they got some laws like that passed where if you don't have insurance, they don't have to treat you. Fuck you. Go home. And I don't know if that's what happened, but I got a feeling that when those people when they got kicked off of their Medicare, they were literally just taking them out and dumping them in the fucking street. And so I'm being serious, you know, hey, that is something, you know, and I kind of mentioned, I go, look, I have no idea if I'm even going to get on SSDI for reasons passing understanding. Everything that they've gotten so far isn't good enough. And I don't know if it's the mental health evaluation or if it's the internal medicine one, but it's being done at a chiropractic clinic. So I really don't have these high expectations that the government's going to be noble and do the right thing. I got a feeling that they're just going to check off their box that I've seen one of their doctors, and they're going to get out that big fuck you stamp and stamp the paperwork and tell me to go fuck myself. And
This fight is over.
I sincerely think that, and I honestly think it'd be easier to get assisted suicide approved than to, you know, purge the fucking shit bags from government and get it to start working again. Especially when you find out that there was a guy that was investigating Hunter Biden, and he wasn't finding any crimes on Hunter Biden or Joe Biden, but he was finding a whole bunch of shit on Trump and his criminal organization. And there were people high-ranking in the FBI and the Justice Department. Now, some of this was under Bush, but the guy said it continued after Garland got in there. There were people that were just telling him to drop it and move on, because whether it was Barr or Garland, and that Ray guy was there for both of them, regardless of who was in charge, they just did not want to prosecute crooked Republicans. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just gonna go look for something easier to attack. Oh my god, one of them just dropped. Oh god, they dropped a fucking smell bomb in here. Holy shit. Whew. Yeah, I'd have run away from that one if I dropped it too.
The Rift Guardian has arrived.
Oh, sweet. I didn't think I'd get this done before I had to go feed the cats. After I feed the cats, I'm going to work on getting myself something to eat. And if I haven't had, if I'm still able, and it might be the same way here where I'm just not going to talk that much, or talk about anything useful, I'll get on and do Minecraft. I thought this would be a lot harder. I really did going up to the, but I'm on the first world or the first stage or whatever. I know they get harder as you get up to like 3, 4, and 5. But so yeah, please write them and ask them to legalize assisted suicide. But that was like a new thing. We've seen it if you pay attention. We've seen it where they have just pulled medical care from people. The family doesn't want them to die. It's a kid, it's a loved one, it's a mom or a dad or a sibling or something like that. And they just don't have the money, so the insurance company and the hospital go to court, and they basically say, well, they don't have the money, so we want to pull the cord and let them die. Well, again, you know, these people are usually they're allowed to linger until they die. That happened with my mom. She existed for 3, 4, 5 days or more where she couldn't eat. Couldn't eat. She wasn't really drinking all that much. And to me, I don't care how much morphine you put somebody on, that can't be good for them. But that's all they could do. That's legally all they could do. And so please, 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 please. But when they, you know, I saw that today, I go, well, there's another fucking reason. And you know, we as a society stand around and watch kids get murdered almost every day in a mass shooting. If it isn't kids, people at a nightclub, people at a synagogue, and we stand around and we allow those murders to happen. We should be able to do something humane for people that are sick like me, or people that are dying like my mom was, and maybe I will be someday too. We should have better options, you know.
I must lessen my burden. I need to go back.
Okay, when I get done here, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, and I'm gonna go feed the cats.
I'm carrying too much.
I grunt.
Oh, somebody just came in almost like on cue. She's like, oh, are you gonna feed me? Patches, can you just be a good girl? I'm gonna come feed you. I just need to get, I need to get done with what I'm doing. Yeah, I just need to get done with what I'm doing. Yeah, you came at just the right time. Okay, well, you guys have a good day, and I will try, if I can, I will try to come back on later. Peace out, and I hope everybody has a good day.